Hello, first grade. This is Mrs. Ball with your math lesson for today. Let's go ahead and get started. Our standard is 1MG4, organize, represent, and interpret data with up to 3 categories. Ask and answer questions about the total number of data points, how many in each category, and how many more or less are in one category than in the other. Our essential question is, what do the pictures in a picture graph show? Our I can statement is I can represent and interpret data. In our Big Go Math books, we're going to be working from page 414 where we see a picture of a picture graph. A picture graph uses pictures to show information. So this is a graph. This is where we can determine or figure out how many of something there is, how few of something there is, and we can do a bunch of other things with the picture graph or any graph that provides us with information. So the title of the graph is here. It's at the top, and the title is Children at the Playground. Now we have 2 categories. There's a picture of swings and there's a picture of slide. Now with this information, we can figure out a few important facts. Each stick figure stands for one child. So every time that I see a stick figure, I know that represents 1. Okay? There are children on the slide, on the swings, excuse me. Okay? So we can look at our picture graph and we can go to the picture of the swings and we can determine how many children are on the swing. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So of course right here, there is the number 4. Now we do not have this same information for the slide. So how many children are on the slide? Well, let's go and let's count. Here's the picture of the slide, and let's count how many figures are beside it. 1, 2. So how many children are on the slide? That's right, there are 2. Okay, there are more children on so we're comparing. We had children that were on the swings, and we also had children that are on the slide. So were there more children on the swings or were there more children on the slide? Let's look at our graph. Which one has more, swings or slide? There are more children that are on the swings. All right. Now we have a different graph. The title of this graph is Our Favorite Activity at the Fair. So this picture of the horse represents the animals, and this picture of the Ferris wheel represents the rides. Now, each little stick figure that we see, it stands for one child. So when we see these stick figures, we can count by 1. So let's use the picture graph to answer the question. Number 1, which activity did more children choose? And we're going to circle. We're either going to circle the horse or we're going to circle the Ferris wheel. So which one? Did more children like the animals or did they like the rides? That's right, they like the ride. So we're going to circle the Ferris wheel that represents the ride. Now, number 2, how many children chose animals? So let's look at our picture where the horse is, that represents the animals, and let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there were 5 children that chose animals. Let's look at number 3. How many children chose the rides? So let's look and let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there were 7 children that chose rides. So we're going to write 7 right here. Now, how many fewer? Let's stop right there. Whenever I hear the terms how many fewer, how many more, those are key words telling me that I'm going to subtract. So right off, I know that I'm going to be subtracting. And when I subtract, do my numbers get bigger or smaller? They get smaller because I am taking something away. I'm taking a number away from another number. How many fewer children chose animals than rides? Okay, so we're trying to figure out how many children chose, how many more children chose rides over animals? So, how many chose rides? 7. Very good. And remember, I told you that I'm going to subtract. So, here's my minus sign. 7 minus how many chose animals? 5. 7 minus 5 equals, I have 7. I take 5 away. How many fewer children? 7 minus 5 equals 2. So there are 2 fewer children that chose animals over rides over animals, okay? So let's look at the page on your own where you can practice. On the next page, on page 414. So you can practice this on your own or with an adult or with an older brother or sister. So on your own, you have the title of your graph, which is what we drink for lunch. You have three, you have 3 types of beverages that you can choose from: milk, juice, and water. And remember, this right here, it tells us that each little stick figure stands for one child. So here are some things that we can ask. How many children drink, and what's that picture representing? Milk. So we can go to our graph and we can count how many children chose milk. Now, number 6, how many children in all drink juice and water? In all. And we have another key word there. It is and. So that means that we're going to add. So for this particular problem or question, we're going to add juice, the people that drank juice, and the people that drank water. Okay. All right. Number 7. What do most children drink for lunch? So who has the most votes? That's what you're going to circle. And number 8, how many more children drink milk than juice? So we would take the number of people that make milk, drink milk. And when I see the words how many more, what does that mean? I'm going to do what? That's right, I'm going to subtract. So you take this number, subtract it from that number, and you will have the difference. How many fewer children drink water than milk? So remember, how many fewer? Another key word for me to subtract. So you would subtract water, the amount of people that drink water, from the amount of people that drink juice. How many children in all drink milk, juice, and water? In all, that means I need the total number of all of those individuals that drink those beverages. So you're going to go back and you're going to count up all 3 of those categories. Now, here's the hot problem that you can try. 4 new children join the class. They drink juice at lunch. Now, how many more children drink juice than water? So you can go back to your chart and you can draw 4 little figures here. And then remember, how many more means that you're going to do what? it means you're going to subtract. All right, awesome. So you can practice this page on your own, and you also have an assignment, and it is P195. Okay, so P195 and P196. Again, you have this in your packet. If you do not have your packet, you should have your small Go Math Standards practice book, and it is in there. So you might be able to zoom in on your screen if you need to zoom in some. Or do the opposite and zoom out so this is bigger. Okay. And then of course I've made it where you can double click, the cursor appears and you can type. So you're going to look at the graph and you're going to answer questions about it. Okay. So our favorite outdoor activity, you have 3 categories: biking, skating, and running. How many children chose biking? So you're going to look at the graph and you're going to count those numbers. Okay. Now, how many more? Let me change this, because how many more means that we are going to subtract. So I have already set up your subtraction symbol and your equal sign, okay? That's already set up, already established for you. But you've got to do the subtraction. You've got to figure out what numbers you're going to subtract, okay? Right here, since you cannot bubble in, you're going to type your answer. So make sure that you type the answer here. And let me really quickly add a circle for you. So for number 3, you have to choose the activity that the children chose, that the most children chose. And so you can take the circle that I just created and you can hover over the activity, okay? So that is how you would do that. So I hope that you do well on this assignment, and I will see you next time. Thanks for learning with me today.